All right, what's up, guys? We got two Gold Cup matches tonight. The semifinals of the Gold Cup. We got Team USA going up against Guatemala, and then we got Mexico going up against Honduras. So without further ado, let's get right into my picks. First, let's take a look at how all these teams got to this point. So Team USA won 5-0 to start out this tournament against Trinidad and Tobago. Then Team USA beat Saudi Arabia 1-0, and then third game USA beat Haiti 2-1. In the quarterfinal, Team USA would play Costa Rica, and they would barely make it through on penalties after tying after 90 minutes 2-2. Let's take a look at how Guatemala got to this stage. Guatemala beat Jamaica 1-0 on match day 1. On match day 2, Guatemala lost to Panama 1-0, and then on match day 3, Guatemala beat Guadeloupe 3-2. So basically, my biggest takeaways: Team USA, they played pretty well. I think they were able to dominate Trinidad. That was expected. They played just well enough to beat Saudi Arabia. That was a tight one. And then against Haiti, the same thing. Another tight one that Team USA just played well enough to win. Against Costa Rica is a very, very tough team. Team USA barely escaped. Honestly, they could have lost that game several times. I just think Guatemala is severely overmatched in this game. I think Team USA is the much better side. They're going to be at home. Guatemala, I looked at their game when they played Panama. They were dominated. I think we're going to see something similar here. I think Team USA is going to be putting pressure on Guatemala all game long. I think it's going to be a lot of one-way traffic. I think Guatemala is going to struggle. I don't think Guatemala will score, honestly. I think this defensive pairing for Team USA and Tim Ream and Chris Richards is going to keep Guatemala scoreless. Matt Freese looked great against Costa Rica in that penalty shootout. So I think Guatemala scores 0. I think Team USA is going to be able to score at least 2. I think Team USA wins by 2 goals. I think Team USA will cover the spread tomorrow. That's going to be my first bet. Team USA minus 1.5. Team USA is going to advance to the final, and they're going to cover the spread against Guatemala. Now moving on to Mexico against Honduras. So let's take a look at how Mexico got to this stage. On match day 1, they struggled, barely beating the Dominican Republic 3-2. And then on match day 2, Mexico would beat Suriname 2-0. I was on Suriname +2 in that game. I had to sweat that one out. That was scary. I remember that. But Mexico, again, they struggled in that game. They end up winning that game 2-0, but Suriname is horrible. Mexico should have won that game much, much easier. And then on match day 3, Mexico tied Costa Rica, a very, very tough Costa Rica side that took USA to the brink in the last round, as we saw. In the quarterfinal, Mexico was able to beat Saudi Arabia 2-0. And they're going to go up against an Honduras side who I think is much worse than that Saudi Arabia side. I think this Honduras side is probably the worst team that Mexico has faced since they faced Suriname back on match day 2. I see this game playing out pretty similar to Team USA versus Guatemala. I think Mexico is going to dominate. I think that, Honduras, they were able to escape against Panama, and Panama had way too many chances just slip through their fingers. Panama had so many opportunities to put that game away, and they didn't do it. And that's the game of soccer. I don't think Mexico is going to do that. I think it's going to be one-way traffic. Mexico's going to get that first goal. They're going to get that second goal. And they're just going to sit on that lead. And I think Mexico is going to win this game by 2 goals. So I've got both favorites in the semifinals for this Gold Cup winning by the spread, by winning by 2 goals. I got the Mexico at minus 1.5, minus 105 odds to beat Honduras and move on to the final. And we should get a Team USA versus Mexico final this Sunday afternoon. It's going to be exciting. So, yep, those are my 2 picks for the Gold Cup tomorrow in the semifinals. Team USA minus 1.5 at minus 115, and then Mexico -1.5 at -105. Good luck, everybody. See you next time.